Welcome to Surface Knowledge, the only podcast that provides you with useless information for a useful reason. Never again be stuck without an interesting tidbit or fun fact in any social situation. Here's your host, Max Curtin.
Welcome back, friends, to another episode of Surface Knowledge, the podcast that delivers just enough to impress in 30 minutes or less. This is episode 10, which means we're halfway through season 1. I'm sorry, what's that? You didn't know we were doing seasons? Well, why would you? I didn't tell you until now. But there are 10 episodes left in season 1 that I'm going to take a little break over the summer to build up some new content, do some deep dive research on topics, and, we'll refresh the concept a little bit more so that you're always curious and you're always wanting to come back for more. But as we are at this halfway point, I wanted to deep dive into an area of ourselves that I really do find fascinating, which is, why do we dream? Now, whether you remember them or not, whether they're vivid, whether they're strange, terrifying, or they're just plain boring, we all dream. And chances are you've had at least one dream so weird that you woke up thinking, what was that? Maybe you were being chased by a horse with your boss's face. Maybe you were drifting through mirrors and doorways in a tiny river-filled planet. Maybe you were making love to a clone of yourself. I'm totally not drawing off personal experience. These are normal dreams, right? We spend about a third of our lives asleep, and during that time, the brain doesn't just shut off, it gets busier, especially during dreams. But here's the kicker. For all of our science and brain scans and sleep labs, we still don't fully know why we dream. And that's not a joke. Neuroscience has theories, they got great ones, but there's no single agreed upon reason why dreams exist. They remain one of the brain's most persistent mysteries. And in this episode, we're going to dig into the science behind dreaming, the brain activity, the sleep stages, and the psychological theories that try to explain what the heck our subconscious is doing while we're drooling into that pillow. We're also going to bust some myths. We're going to look at what dream researchers have discovered in the lab. We're going to look at some history and how dreams relate to different cultures. We're going to explore how dreams have inspired everything from scientific breakthroughs to horror novels. We're going to do all of this in under 30 minutes. Crazy. But be warned, this isn't a dream dictionary episode. I'm not going to tell you what it means if you dreamed of snakes or why your teeth are falling out every Tuesday, but I am going to give you just enough to understand what dreams are, what they might be for, and why they matter. Because dreams are more than just nighttime nonsense. They might be one of the most complex things your brain ever does without your permission. So fluff up that pillow and let's gain a surface knowledge of the science of dreams. So what's actually going on inside your head when you dream? Well, let's start with the basics here. When you sleep, your body goes through a series of repeating cycles, about 4 to 6 times per night. And each cycle includes different stages of sleep. And two of the most important ones are NREM, which is non-rapid eye movement, and REM, rapid eye movement. You can dream in both, but REM sleep is where the good stuff happens. That's the stage of sleep where your brain lights up like a Christmas tree. It's active, it's chaotic, it's weird, and it's where most of your vivid, emotional, story-like dreams take place. During REM, your brain becomes so active that it looks, on an EEG, almost like you're awake. But while your brain is buzzing, your body is paralyzed, literally. Your brain is sending signals to shut off your motor neurons so you don't act out your dreams and, accidentally punch your partner or you jump off the bed. And this paralysis is called REM atonia, and it's a normal protective function. Unless you wake up while it's still happening, in which case, congratulations, you've experienced sleep paralysis and it's absolutely terrifying. Now, different parts of your brain play different roles during sleep, and during REM in particular, the activity shifts dramatically. Your amygdala, which handles emotions like fear and aggression, become highly active. This is partly why so many dreams feel emotionally intense or weirdly dramatic. Your hippocampus, which deals with memory, also gets involved, helping process, shuffle, and integrate your experiences from the day. But your prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain responsible for logic, planning, and self-awareness, that goes quiet. That's why dreams don't make logical sense. You can be in your childhood home, but also on a spaceship, and somehow your nana's there, but she's made of bees. And you just kind of roll with it. There's no questions asked. And the part of your brain that would normally shout, this is ridiculous, this is absurd, that's on sleep mode. And this is also why when you wake up, your dreams often dissolve like fog. Dreams are slippery. That's because your brain doesn't always file them away as proper memories, unless you wake up during or immediately after REM. Most of your dreams are forgotten or get stored as vague impressions rather than solid recollections. Also, you dream every night. Even if you don't think you do, the dads are always like, I've never dreamt in my life. Most people have 3 to 6 dreams per night, adding up to about 2 hours of dreaming over an average 8-hour sleep cycle. You just don't remember most of them unless you wake up during or right after one. And another interesting twist is that dreams during non-REM sleep are usually more fragmented and thought-like, almost like kind of a background noise of your brain at rest. But as the night progresses, your REM stages get longer and deeper, and the dreams get more vivid, complex, and emotional. So when you wake up thinking, what the hell was that? What just happened? You've probably just emerged from your last REM cycle. So a quick summary here, because that was a lot of information. Your brain is highly active during REM. Your body is paralyzed on purpose. Your emotional centers are cranked up to 11. Your logic center is asleep at the wheel, and your memories may or may not hit save. Basically, dreaming is like your brain running its own private experimental theater, full of surreal plots, emotional overdrive, but there's no stage manager in sight. All right, in the next session, we're going to look at why your brain might be doing this in the first place, and we're going to try and answer the question, why do we dream? So now that we know that your brain throws this wild, emotional, logic-light party during REM sleep, the big question we're asking is why? And here's where things get a little bit fun because, as I mentioned in the intro, science doesn't have a single definitive answer, but it does have a bunch of really compelling theories. Some are cognitive, some emotional, and some are almost evolutionary. Let's break down these theories one by one, and we'll kind of see which one resonates best with you. The first one is the memory consolidation theory. And this is one of the most wildly accepted ideas, is that dreaming helps your brain sort and store memories. Basically, your brain is Marie Kondoing your day. It's keeping what matters, it's discarding what doesn't, and it's figuring out where to file the important stuff. And dreaming may be part of that sorting process. Some studies show that people who are woken up during REM sleep have worse memory recall the next day, and that dreaming about a task can improve performance on it. That suggests that your brain is not just remembering during dreams, it's almost like it's practicing. The second theory is the threat simulation theory. And this one sounds intense, but it's fascinating because the idea is that dreams, especially nightmares, for example, they serve as a kind of mental training ground. Your brain plays out these high stakes, really threatening scenarios like, you're being chased, or you're falling, you're fighting, or you're hiding, to prepare you for danger in real life. If you think about it like your subconscious is running fire drills, you're not actually in danger, but your brain's learning how to react emotionally and physically. It's a bit of a speculative theory, but it does kind of line up with how many dreams seem built around survival, even if they do start kind of, an alligator in a business suit. The third theory is called the emotional regulation theory. Now, this one looks at the idea that dreams help you kind of process emotions, especially intense ones. This could explain why emotional events such as heartbreak, grief, anxiety often show up in dreams. Your brain may be trying to sort through complicated feelings by playing them out in a metaphorical form. Some researchers believe that dreams dampen emotional intensity, helping you wake up less reactive. Others think that they reinforce emotional connections and help with psychological healing. That might be why a nightmare can sometimes leave you relieved when you wake up. Your brain has kind of already worked through it while you were unconscious. The fourth theory is the cognitive development theory. Now, this one suggests that dreaming helps build and refine cognitive abilities, and this is especially true in young children. Kids spend way more time in REM sleep than adults, and some researchers believe this could help with brain development, kind of like an overnight sandbox where the brain experiments with new ideas, symbols, and emotions. This theory is less about kind of storing memories and more about building the hardware of thought itself. And then the final kind of major theory is the random activation theory, aka dreams mean nothing. And this is very much in that skeptical camp. According to this theory, sometimes called the activation synthesis model, dreams are just your brain trying to make sense of a random neural activity during REM. There's no deep meaning, there's no spiritual insights, it's just your brain stitching together a weird movie from the static on the screen. In this view, dreams don't do anything useful, they're just a byproduct of a brain keeping itself busy while your body recharges. But most modern sleep scientists, they think that's too simple. While randomness may play a role, the fact that dreams are emotionally powerful, often repetitive, and linked to memory formation suggests that they have purpose more than that. What about Freud? I hear no one shouting at all. But fine, let's mention the couch. Sigmund Freud famously believed that dreams were the royal road to the unconscious. According to him, every dream was an expression of unfulfilled desires, often rooted in childhood and usually not very subtle about the meaning. Modern science has mostly moved on from Freud's overly sexualized interpretations, but some of his core ideas, like dreams reflecting hidden feelings, still influence dream research today. Carl Jung, his student-turned-rival, had a slightly different take. He believed that dreams were part of a universal symbolic language shared across all humans, tapping into what he called the collective unconscious. So if you've ever dreamed of flying, drowning, or turning up naked at work, Jung would just say, yep, that's page 1 of Human Condition. So the leading theories all suggest that dreams are doing something. They're helping us remember, they're helping us feel, they're helping us survive, or they're helping us develop. And even if parts of our dreams are random, they still come from us, our fears, our hopes, and our weird little thought fragments. That alone makes them worth paying attention to. Next up, let's take a pillow fight here to the myths. We want to talk about black and white dreams, to dying in your sleep, and just seeing what's true and what's not. Alright, sciencey theories out the way, let's bust some myths. Because let's face it, dreams are weird. And wherever weirdness goes, myths usually follow. And some of these you've probably heard, some of these you might believe, but let's see how they hold up under the sleepy spotlight of actual research. You only dream in black and white. This is false, mostly. Roughly 80% of people report dreaming in full color. But the twist is, older studies from the 1940s and 50s did suggest a much higher rate of black and white dreaming. And researchers now think it may have been influenced by the media of the time. As in, when everyone's watching black and white films and television, they start dreaming in black and white too. Turns out that the brain might borrow from the dominant imagery it's exposed to. So if you grow up with HD, Technicolor, and TikTok filters, odds are your dreams are full color. Next myth is, if you die in a dream, then you die in real life. Absolutely not. Not true at all. You can 100% die in a dream and you can live to hit that snooze button the next day. In fact, dream death is surprisingly common, especially in nightmares or high-stress periods. Some people report even having multiple death dreams. The experience is often symbolic. Death as transformation, change, or emotional processing. It's just your brain working through something and it's not trying to take you out. So yes, you can fall off the cliff, you can hit the ground, and you can wake up annoyed instead of dead. It's dramatic, but 100% survivable. Dreams only last a few seconds. Wrong again. Dreams during REM sleep can last anywhere from 5 to 30 minutes, depending on which sleep cycle you're in. The average REM cycle gets longer the closer you are to waking. So those really vivid, elaborate dreams near morning, they're most likely in real time. So if you have that weird 30-minute dream saga where you went from, scuba diving with your high school crush to arguing with a talking dog on a train, that probably took as long as it felt. Next one, you can't read in dreams. This one surprisingly is kind of true. Many people find that text in dreams is unstable or unreadable. If you look at a sign or a book, it might be gibberish or it changes every time you look at it. That's because reading relies heavily on your prefrontal cortex, which is significantly less active during REM sleep. Some lucid dreamers report being able to read with practice, but for most people, the dream world's not exactly set up for book club yet. Next one, sleep paralysis means you're being haunted. Okay, this one obviously has scary undertones, but it is based on a real phenomenon. Sleep paralysis happens when you wake up during REM sleep, but your body hasn't turned your motor controls back on yet. You're awake, you're aware, and you're completely unable to move. Now, often people who experience intense hallucinations, presence in the room or pressure on the chest, strange voices, it's a terrifying thing, but it's totally explainable. Cultures around the world have their own folklore to explain it. Shadow people, demons, witches. But today we know it's a glitch that happens between sleep and wake systems. It's not a ghost in your closet. But even if you apply the logical science to it in the moment, as it's happening, you're probably going, oh God, kill me now, this is horrible, it's hell. But you're fine. The next one, deja vu, comes from dreams. Now this one's a bit murkier, but it's still fascinating. Some researchers believe that this is a real cognitive experience. You might dream about something extremely mundane, like, I don't know, walking down a street or opening a door. You forget that dream, and then you experience it in real life, and you get that eerie familiarity. What it is it's a glitch in the brain's memory system, not a prophecy, I'm afraid, but it is that kind of moment that makes you pause and think, have I done this before? Lucid dreaming is just a myth. And no, this is actually very real. Lucid dreaming is when you become aware that you're dreaming while you're dreaming. And some people can even control the dream's directions. It's a rare talent, but it's actually learnable. Techniques like reality checks, dream journaling, and wake back to bed methods can train your brain to recognize the dream state. Some people use lucid dreaming for fun, others for creative problem solving, for therapy, or nightmare control. We're not quite at Inception level, but it's close enough for the dream nerds out there. So yeah, your dream world is a strange, flexible place. Time stretches, text doesn't work, physics have gone rogue, but there's a surprising amount of logic behind the weirdness. Now that we've cleared up the myths, let's look at some famous dream discoveries, wild research experiments, and how dreams have shaped real-world history. Now, as we probably gathered, dreams might feel random. It's like the brain is letting off steam in the dark, but every now and then, one does turn out to be useful. Throughout history, people have credited dreams with creative inspiration, scientific insights, and flashes of genius. And for the past century, researchers have been trying to figure out why dreams can be so strange, so emotional, and sometimes weirdly helpful. Let's just run through a couple of dream MVPs. Dmitry Mendeleev, the Russian chemist who created the periodic table, said the layout came to him in a dream. He saw the elements falling into place like puzzle pieces arranging themselves by atomic weight. Mary Shelley claimed that the central image of Frankenstein, the scientist, the spark of life, the reanimated corpse, came to her in a waking dream after a late-night conversation about ghost stories. Paul McCartney literally dreamed the melody for Yesterday. He woke up with the tune in his head and he assumed it must be a song that he'd heard before. But it wasn't, and he wrote the lyrics later, but the music came from his subconscious. Elias Howe, the inventor of the modern sewing machine, reportedly got the idea for the needle design from a dream where he was being chased by warriors with spears, and the spears had holes near the tip. Now, let's look at what dream labs have actually discovered. If we start back in the 1950s, scientists finally had the tools to actually study dreams, thanks to the rise of EEG machines. I'm not going to pronounce the whole word because I can't. And they use these in sleep labs. And that's when researchers discovered REM sleep, the phase where brain activity spikes and eyes flick back and forth under closed lids. They noticed that waking people during REM led to far more detailed dream reports than waking them during non-REM. That discovery revolutionized how we understood sleep. Suddenly, dreams weren't mysterious or magical, they were measurable. Today, we can track dreams using EEGs, which measure the brainwave activity, fMRIs, which can map active brain regions, and eye movement patterns used to study lucid dreaming, as well as sleep diaries and dream journals. These are subjective, but they are valuable. And these tools let us explore what type of people dream more vividly, how stress or trauma shapes dreams, and what dreams can reveal about emotional and cognitive health. Now, interestingly, dream content is weirdly universal. Across cultures and age groups, people report being chased, falling, losing teeth, arriving late or unprepared, flying, being naked in public, talking to someone who's died, and these reoccurring themes suggest that our dreams are pulling from deep psychological wiring, not just day-to-day experiences. Some researchers think they reflect common anxieties, failure, vulnerability, exposure, morality. If we're speaking about other cultures here, let's dive into dreams through time, culture, and a bit of mystery sprinkled in as well. So, long before REM cycles and EEGs, people all over the world were dreaming, and they weren't asking what it meant in a scientific sense, they were asking what it meant in a cosmic one. Because historically, dreams were never just dreams. They were messages, they were warnings, prophecies, even portals to other worlds. So let's look at a few classic examples here. In ancient Mesopotamia, dreams were recorded on clay tablets. Some were thought to be omens from gods, others instructions for kings. The Epic of Gilgamesh, one of the oldest known literary works, is filled with dream sequences, many believed to contain coded messages from deities. Ancient Egyptians took it even further. They had dream interpreters, who were basically state-sponsored therapists crossed with oracles. Dreams were considered divine communication, and dream books, which listed common symbols and their meanings, have been found in tombs. The Greeks had a whole god of dreams, Morpheus. They also had dream temples where the sick would sleep and hope to be healed or guided by divine dreams. Even Aristotle had thoughts on dreams, proposing they were tied to digestion and internal senses. Not exactly mystical, but for the time it was a bold psychological take. If we look at biblical and religious dreams, across the Abrahamic traditions, dreams play major roles. In the Bible, Joseph interprets Pharaoh's dreams of fat and thin cows, predicting 7 years of plenty, followed by famine. He lands a government job and saves Egypt. Not bad for a guy to start out in prison. In Islam, the Prophet Muhammad is said to have received important dreams and spoke about dreams as one of the 46 parts of prophecy. In Judaism, Talmudic texts explore dreams in both practical and mystical ways, as reflections of inner desires or even glimpses into the truth. Dreams were so powerful that they weren't just part of religion, they could shape it. In many indigenous cultures, dreams aren't just about subconscious leftovers, they're part of waking life. For example, in some Ojibwe traditions, the dream world is where spirit beings communicate and where important knowledge is passed down. Dream catchers originating with the Ojibwe were believed to filter out bad dreams while letting the good ones pass through to the sleeper. In Australian Aboriginal culture, there's the concept of the dreaming, not just individual dreams, but a spiritual plane where ancestral beings created the world. It's not a dream in the Western sense, it's reality, but just in another form. In Hinduism and Buddhism, dreams are often seen as part of the Maya, the illusion of the world, and treated as reminders that reality itself might not be as solid as we think. Some texts even describe lucid dreaming and dream yoga practices that go back centuries. Now, if we look at the really out there stuff, because naturally not everyone is content with neural activity and emotional processing, there are people, including researchers on the fringe of all of this, who believe that dreams might be gateways to alternate realities, access points to a collective unconscious, a form of time travel where the subconscious explores potential futures or replays forgotten pasts, or even contact zones for other entities. Talking spirits, aliens, interdimensional beings, you name it, they think it. And while these aren't backed by hard science, they have inspired books, movies, and some genuinely passionate communities online, which I've had the pleasure of reading. Whether it's dreamwalking, astral projection, or shared dreaming, the idea that dreams are more than just in your head still has a grip on the imagination. Even in the world of physics, there have been thought experiments about dreams representing quantum brain states or simulations. Though again, this veers into philosophical sci-fi territory pretty quickly. And of course, there are still those cases that defy easy explanation. People have dreamed of places that they've never been, only to visit them later and then recognize them. They've had dreams that seemingly predicted major events such as plane crashes, illnesses, or breakups. There's also reported shared dreams with friends or loved ones having the same setting, storyline, or character appear on the same night. Now, most of these have logical explanations, memory errors, selective recall, coincidence, but that doesn't stop them from feeling a little bit eerie when they do happen. Dreams are deeply convincing. Whether they're truly prophetic or not, the sense of meaning they carry is often powerful enough to change lives. So yes, we can talk all day about REM cycles and amygdala activities, but dreaming has always lived at the crossroads of science and mystery. Across cultures and centuries, dreams have been warnings, visions, revelations, and riddles. They've been trusted, they have been feared, they have been interpreted, and they have been dismissed. And that, in a way, is what makes them timeless. And that, dear dreamers, brings us to the end. We still don't fully know why we dream, but we do know that they're shaped by emotion, biology, memory, stress, imagination, and sometimes just that little bit of randomness. They're one of the few things that connects us all, regardless of language, culture, or sleep schedule. And that has been the surface knowledge on the science of dreams. If this episode sparks something, then go start a dream journal. Or don't, I don't really care. Just fall asleep knowing that your brain is going to throw a weird, symbolic party while you rest. And if you did like this episode, please, in your heart, can you go ahead and leave a 5-star review? Maybe follow the show. Check out Surface Knowledge Pod on all the socials for daily facts, video clips, and strange stories that didn't make the cut. I'll, of course, be back next week when we're back to our regular scheduled programming, and we're going to be exploring a surface knowledge of the Bermuda Triangle. Sweet dreams, surface dwellers.
You've been listening to the Surface Knowledge Podcast, part of the GT5 network. Be sure to subscribe and rate on your favorite podcasting platform so you never miss an episode. We'll see you back here soon for another episode. Until next time, stay curious.